I know that Cordarrelle Patterson described himself in this tweet as old and washed up upon the Steelers releasing him on his day off today. But quite frankly, I couldn't agree more. What took so long?
Yeah, in writing, I've written that same exact thing, and I was wondering what took him so long. I think my favorite, since Cordarrelle Patterson is going to call himself old and washed, my favorite Cordarrelle Patterson story came last year. The Steelers were walking over from their indoor practice facility to across the parking lot and back to their locker rooms, and a couple of random players look over, I'm talking about practice squad guys, and they saw Cordarrelle Patterson, and he was already eating pizza. And practice had just ended, and their quote was, "Cordarrelle Patterson is so fat." And not to just bash a guy who has done more and made more money than I will ever even dream of, but unfortunately there reaches a time for every player when it's time to say goodbye. The Steelers had a crowded backfield with, obviously, Jaylen Warren. They have Caleb Johnson. And then our guy Kenneth Gainwell, he is going to be that dynamic line-up-everywhere type of running back. There really was no need to keep a 34-year-old Cordarrelle Patterson. It was well past time to let him go.
I couldn't agree more with every syllable you just uttered. All right, that brings me to many other issues here. The first one's the offensive line. How much do you know about the nature of the injuries to Broderick Jones and Sayamalu? And it obviously can't be a good thing that an already thin offensive line, and most are, there's not a ton of offensive line depth in the league, but an already thin offensive line has two injuries.
I think Broderick Jones is the one that you worry about more, just in the sense that this is an important training camp for him. He is a guy that when you drafted him out of Georgia with just 19 college starts, he was this ball of clay that you were hoping to mold into a legitimate starting first-round caliber offensive tackle. The Steelers have taken this bizarre approach with him where they've played him all over the place, right tackle. Before now, he was supposed to finally line up at left tackle. He dropped 20 pounds. He's come into training camp looking like he's in very good shape. But unfortunately, it seems like he's dealing with a little bit of something. So here's what I can tell you along those lines. Yesterday on Sunday at practice, he participated in the individual drills. And then afterwards, the medical staff was wrapping. He looked like a mummy. They basically had his entire back and then his groin area wrapped. I'm not sure exactly whether that means it was a groin issue, a hip issue, a hamstring issue, but something in that realm. And, he wasn't carted off. He didn't go to the locker room. He stayed at practice and watched practice. It wasn't like he went down in a heap kind of thing. But the Steelers have an interesting decision to make now here with Broderick Jones, because you don't want a small thing to turn into a bigger issue. At the same time, this is a guy that has a tremendous amount to prove at a position group that's really going to shape the fortunes of the Steelers season in a lot of ways. And so I guess we'll have to find out more tomorrow, but you hope that for Broderick's sake and for the Steelers' offensive line's sake, he's back on the field sooner than later.